For some of you, it was supposed to be that long, hot summer you'd been waiting for. The one where you could finally switch off your brain because nothing was so important that it needed doing straight away. Perhaps you're supposed to have finished exams and you'd reached that part of life where your heart could be in charge instead of just your brain. But for you and for all of us, all of a sudden life got complicated. And instead of focusing on the future or on the summer, on structure, predictability, and exams, we lost our chance to just be. And we can't ignore the place that we find ourselves. It would be really easy to get lost in this moment and to let ourselves sink. But we need to guard our hearts. In the past, our brains have driven our focus and our hearts have been left pining in the background, longing for freedom and fun and games. In education as we've known it to date, your brain has had to focus. It's been told what it has to learn, and you've wrestled with subjects that you're relieved or can't wait to see the back of. The ones that felt like torture. But I wonder what you would consider doing if you had a time machine turn up. What decisions would you make differently? What would you change? What about your time at school or your time in life could you have made more of an opportunity of? And yet now we find ourselves with an opportunity to rewrite history. Not that we'll be able to rewrite the past, though again, I wonder what you'd change if you could, but we get a chance to shape the future. I wonder whether our choices will be made by our brains or our hearts, or by our stomachs and our tongues. Our brains are often only capable of looking at the present or the past, of looking at the imminent and formulating plans to cope with what's going on. But our hearts are capable of so much more. Our hearts can look forwards even when our brain is looking backwards. And this is what makes our hearts so important. Because the future is what we can shape. We need to find a balance. But this moment is for thinking about your heart. What will that future look like? As we look around us at the world in crisis, we can't put our dreams and hopes on hold. It really isn't an option for us to put our hearts to sleep and to wake them when the world is fixed. What we need is more passion, more life-giving power to fix and to shape what is to come rather than just brains and plans. But how do we wake up our hearts? How do we break the routine of brain being in charge and being told what we're supposed to learn, who we're supposed to be, or what mould we're supposed to fit into? How do we use freedom to grow beyond the past into the future? The first thing to do is to allow yourself to get excited and to dream. What do you want to do? Find a way that works and learn how to do it better. You're guiding yourself into your passions. Don't get bogged down with what you have to do. Learn to do what makes you happy. And part of that is being brave enough to try new things and explore what is coming, to let your heart lead, and your brain will thank you for it. If it's not your heart that's leading, then let your tongue or your stomach lead the way. Don't miss out on dessert and the tasty things of life. There are things we can miss out on if we don't use our freedom well, like dessert. In the Bible, in Proverbs chapter 4, it says this: "Dear friend, listen well to my words, tune your ears to my voice, keep my message in plain view at all times. Concentrate, learn it by heart. Those who discover these words live, really live, body and soul, they're bursting with health. Keep vigilant watch over your heart. That's where life starts. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Ignore all sideshow distractions. Watch your step and the road will stretch out smooth before you." It's from the Bible, so it's going to be about God. And I think it's this bit that Jesus is referring to when he declares that he has come to bring life, and life in all its fullness. That the fullness of life comes from believing and following him. I think there's something in this to take away for all of us. Your heart is where life starts. It's biologically the key to everything working. Therefore, eat well, exercise, and look after it. It's emotionally where your passions are stirred for people. Love well, share it well, and look after it. It's where we find our contentment and fulfillment, our excitement and passions for who we are and what we do. Discover that fire and passion. Look for your place and use your heart well, and keep that fire alive. I think that's what Jesus calls for. I think we too often get misled into thinking that Christianity and God are about rules and joy kills. But I believe that the truest and purest passions in our hearts, and the things that make us tick and that bring us a sense of life, truly come from God. And that they only become the fullest they can be when they're combined with the love of God and a desire to follow Jesus. So may we guard our hearts, that they may constantly bring life to us and those we meet, that we know love and passion, that we love and live well, that we find fulfillment. May we discover what it is to live life to the full. There's a next thing. We need to be ready for it. We need to be ready with our hearts and our passions and our excitement to serve Jesus and to love other people as we explore the way forwards together. Go get it.